This is it. Alice, I can tell you're itching to take the fight to the Telephorai. Oh, here we go. Who this? Oh, Sylphs. Oh my god, it's all the Beast Tribe leaders. It's funny because I haven't completed any of the Beast Tribes.
Esteemed guests, you honor us with your presence. As there is much to discuss, let us begin.
Information on our taken brethren you have, yes? Hear it we would! Ah! Beyond forgiveness these featherless ones are! With rivers of blood shall they pay! Freed our people must be!
We too would see your kin liberated. But ere we attempt their rescue, we must first find a means to negate the risk of tempering. Without that, we will be unable even to approach the towers, let alone contend with their defenders.
If all else fails, I've always found cannonballs quite effective.
And what of the prisoners? Would you see them slaughtered?
Think for a moment. Ponder, consider, think. If Merlwyb truly intended to bombard the towers, she would have done so by now. Remember, we came here to find a solution together, did we not?
Y'Stola spoke of defenders. I but offered a means to clear a path, should you require it.
Given the enemy's capabilities, we will all need to play our part if we are to have any chance of success. For if any here should give less than their best, it will be to the cost of every living being on this star.
A paragon, the Empire, our very gods. How can we hope to prevail against such odds?
That our foe is formidable, none would deny. But our strengths are many and varied. In this chamber, I see masters of strategy, masters of magic, masters of the land, the air, and the sea. And together, there is nothing in creation we cannot overcome. I beg your pardon?
What is it, Soulwalker? Do not express your passion thus. A little quickie will outgive, perhaps? Suffice it to say, I am proud to be counted amongst Eorzea's finest. We Sahagin will play our part.
We kobolds have not forgotten the crimes the Overdwellers committed against us in the past. But today we look to the future, as allies united in purpose.
Make mock of the Ixal, the Paragon does! Turns kin into puppets! Pits brother against brother! Free them from his grasp, we shall!
As Patriarch Zadar will attest, the Scions have granted us a means to free your brethren from their thraldom. This boon we will gladly share, that your people might never be enslaved again.
We accept! We accept!
Praise me!
Aww. They're finally getting along.
It's taken a while, but I do believe we might be one step closer to a world without primals. Would that Minfilia were here to see it.
We still have a long way to go, and we're going to need a lot more Porksies. But we're moving in the right direction.
If I may have your attention, there is one other point I would like to raise. As we can all agree, freeing those held captive must take precedence over every other concern. But experience has taught us that none save those with the capacity to resist tempering can hope to enter the towers unscathed. And even once inside, a still greater threat may yet await them, that which we call a primal. Needless to say, if we are to succeed, engaging with such foes can only ever be considered a last resort. And so I move that we seek to prevent them from being summoned in the first place.
Yes! Both prayer and ether are needed for the ritual. Should either one be denied, the summoning would fail.
Indeed. And so we must endeavor to discover the source of the ether on which the process depends. Do so, and it may present a way to halt the summonings, or perhaps even neutralize the towers entirely.
A promising proposal. While you are conducting your investigations, however, we will need to remain vigilant, lest the Telophoroi commit further abductions and a better chance of keeping our enemy at bay. We would do well to coordinate our defensive efforts, sending reinforcements to assist our neighbors when needed.
We Amalja would have been overwhelmed were it not for our newfound allies. But say the word, and we shall come.
I see we are all in accord. But what are we to call this proud fellowship of ours? I submit that the honor of naming it should go to the Scion whose brave efforts have done so much to unite Eorzea. What say you, my friend?
What? Me? You're talking to me? I would call it the Grand Company of Eorzea. I would call it... One moment, please. What? No Wild Rose? We can't call it Wild Rose. Oh well. I would call it... One moment, please.
Might I suggest the Grand Company of Eorzea?
There you go.
I remember a certain someone pondering it once upon a time, and it seems as fitting a name as any.
A fine choice, for there is none here who does not love Eorzea.
Aye, in that we shall ever be united.
United in our gratitude for the realm that gave us life.
You know, they have a point.
Then let it be recorded that on this day, the Grand Company of Eorzea was born.
Oh, this is all he wanted. He was fighting for this from the beginning.
How long have we dreamed of this moment? And now that it's here, Oh, forgive me. Might we speak outside?
The Grand Company of Eorzea. I wonder what Riol and the other former Crystal Braves will make of it. We have won over the leaders. Now the leaders must win over their own people. No small task, I grant you, but we have come a long way since first we joined with Minfilia to bring an end to summoning. Forgive me for observing, but Alphino seems less than jubilant. Might his thoughts still be occupied by the fate of poor all involved? It's a pity it took the threat of annihilation for everyone to cast their grievances aside. But better late than never, I suppose. Well, now that we are all out of earshot of the other delegates, I hope you'll forgive me if I speak my mind. Let me begin by saying that I have dreamed of this day since the moment I first set foot upon these shores, and that I was as heartened as anyone to see the peoples of Eorzea pledge their solidarity. Yet even as they uttered their declarations, all I can think about was the conflict to come, of the sacrifices that would be made, and the lives lost, inevitabilities I still struggle to accept. But at least now there is hope. The formation of the Grand Company of Eorzea is the first step, the first of many. Many and more. Algecitu, how might we be of service? I seek Master Alphino's assistance in a matter involving Gridania's neighbors, the Sylphs. I know that you and yours have long kept a weather eye upon the crystal trade. The better to predict the coming of primals, and so you will be familiar with the Sylphs of the Ash Crown Consortium. Through their dealings, they have cultivated relations not only with the city-states, but many other communities besides. Communities such as the Beast Tribes. Just so, it is our hope that we may make use of these Sylphs' established lines of communication to coordinate the efforts of our new fellowship. Yet there remain certain practical differences between a trade consortium and a grand company. If the Sylphs are to perform their task effectively, they will require the counsel of one versed in the operational aspects of an armed force. An armed force founded within the self-same goal in mind, no less. Oh, she's talking about you? No. The Crystal Braves, yes, forgive me. Oh, the Crystal Braves. Forgive me, Master Alphino. I know that it was a painful chapter in your life, but the experience may yet. In my hubris, I plotted a course for the Crystal Braves which stretched far beyond the Order's initial conception. One intended to pave the way for the founding of what I intended to call the Grand Company of Eorzea. My plans all came to naught. Built upon a frail foundation of lofty ideals, the Order was doomed from the first to collapse under the weight of more worldly interests, and I have no wish to see this newly endeavor suffer the same fate. Mayhap I ask too much of you. Not at all. You may count upon my assistance for what little it's worth. By your leave, I shall prepare a report, including a list of recommendations drawing on the lessons I learned from the failure of the Crystal Braves. You have my gratitude, Master Alphino, and my trust. When your report is ready, pray share it directly with the Sylphs. With your guidance and the earnest efforts of every goodly soul gathered here this day, I have no doubt but that our fellowship shall emerge from the shadow of the Telepharoi and flourish. Until next we meet, my friends. Before committing anything to writing, there are a number of people whose thoughts I should like to hear. Former Braves, you understand. Might you join me in seeking them out? As if you have to ask. Can't think of an excuse not to, so yes. Well, I shall be grateful of your help, grudging or not. I'll join you if you're planning to canvass the opinions of your former comrades. It will be a lot quicker if we share the task of questioning them. Then mayhap Graha can lend a hand as well. I shall accompany Thancred back to the Rising Stones. Between us, I dare say we should be able to provide an accurate enough account of the day's events. We should be glad of your company, Graha. I shall explain the details on the way. I take it we will soon be paying the Sylphs a visit. How fascinating it will be to speak with them in person, though I gather conversation can prove rather challenging. So what's the plan, brother mine? Before discussing the task at hand, I should probably admit that the report I propose is largely written. Not long after that fateful day in Uza, I penned a detailed account of the organization's history, from the events that led to its inception to the failings that brought about its demise. This I did primarily as a means of taking some semblance of responsibility. Never did I imagine that it referred to by those seeking to form a similar organization. And while I made every attempt to be my singular perspective, for it to be of use, however, it must be broadened to encompass the viewpoints of all involved. Only then can it answer what seems to me to be the crucial question, namely, why after the Crystal Braves disbanded did some members choose to remain with us while others did not? I see. You think the answer will tell us something about the nature of the ties that bind our new Grand Company together. And this knowledge might help us prevent it from falling apart when those bonds are inevitably tested. That is my hope, but the questions I ask are uncomfortable to some. As the former commander of the Crystal Braves, I doubt that those who abandoned the cause would come to welcome my inquiries. Then Graha and I will have to try. Meanwhile, the two of you can talk to the ones who kept the faith. A fine suggestion. Have care, however. Certain of my former comrades are of questionable character, so keep your wits about you, and let us reconvene in Gridania later on. If you have no objections, I have a mind to begin speaking with Riol and Alain. If memory serves, the two of them will be attending intelligence briefing at Castromorians. Let us seek them out there. Okay. Come on. While such briefings are seldom exciting affairs, our importance in coordinating our efforts with our allies cannot be overstated. In that regard, Eliane and Riol have been most dependable. Oh, I didn't expect to see you here, Ulrich. But if you enjoy intelligence briefings, you've come to the right place. Okay. Well, look who it is. And what brings you two here? Wouldn't have anything to do with the big meeting, would it? In a matter of speaking, I have been assigned a task, you see, for which I require the assistance of former members of the Crystal Braves. So you want to know why we decided to stick with the Scions, eh? Ain't an easy thing to point into words, that. As I once explained to Ulrich, I spent a long time agonizing over my failure to alert you to the traitors in our midst. For my negligence, I was captured along with many others, and we were powerless to prevent the tragedies that ensued. Not a day goes by that I do not think back to those fateful events. By joining the Scions, I hope to redeem myself, and I will continue to serve the cause for as long as I am able. But that wasn't my only reason. When we were finally reunited at the Rising Stones, you refused to blame anyone but yourself for the fall of the Crystal Braves. And in spite of everything that had happened, everything you had suffered, you took us back without a moment's hesitation. We would not have blamed you had you turned us away, but when you gave us your trust instead, what else could we do but to repay it? Nothing, that's what. As for me own tale, well, I've always felt the Scions have something in common with me, old crew. The duty of the strong is to protect the weak. That was a creed, and I still strive to live by it to this day. But as time's gone on, I've learned the strength comes in many shapes and sizes, from Haori Boulder to Mistress Tatura, where all of us got something to offer. And not one of us is doing it for personal gain. Because we believe there's more important things than that, things worth protecting, which is what being a Scion's all about. I am at a loss for words. Thank you, my friends. To hear this from you means more than you know. Forgive me, Ulrich, could you give us your thoughts on the Crystal Braves? Why did you think the Crystal Braves ended in failure? Well, as founding ideals were something to be proud of, but ideals alone don't make a crew. For every swab who signed up with good intentions, there was another who was only in it for the coin, the glory, or both. I was just quite a disparate band, and while I will never forgive Ilberd, the fact that we managed to function at all was thanks in large part to his efforts. Just a pity he was doing it all for the wrong reasons. Only takes one had a barrel full of them, not like. Charlian has sent an envoy who is due to arrive in Gridania at any moment. Charlian? An envoy? Could it be that Kryl has managed to sway the Forum? We shall know soon enough. But there is more. The envoy has requested that the two of us attend the audience with the Elder Seedseer. Really? I can see why they might want Scions to be present. But us specifically? Wait, it isn't who I think it is. It is. I could scarce believe it myself. But when I inquired as to the envoy's identity, I was told that it was one Fortunat Levlier. Fortunat Levlier. What? Your father? Well now, the fact that a serving member of the Forum had journeyed here would be a surprise enough. But him? Oh, shoot. Louisoix's son. That might be, but why him and not one of the other 98 Forum members? Unless he volunteered for it. It has been some time since you last saw your father, has it not? Could it be he is concerned for your well-being? Perhaps, but he has always been reluctant to discuss his work with us. Indeed, and whenever we write to our parents, it is invariably our mother who replies. Nevertheless, I welcome the opportunity to meet him after so long, even if it is secondary to his true purpose here. Elder Frishil, loath though I am to cut our visit short, we must return to Gridania. Pray accept my apologies along with my report. Never mind. There will be time to talk later. This one won't keep walking ones from more urgent matters. Go. The audience will be held at the Lotus Stand, where the Elder Seedseer awaits even now. Let us be on our way. Their father. And then there was that silver-haired Ellison that we saw in the trailer, so I have a feeling it's him? Welcome, Warrior of Light. The Elder Seedseer and your friends are waiting within. During my time in Charlian, I heard much of Fortunat Levlier. He is a gifted speaker, known amongst other things for the uncompromising application of foreign policy. 99 may seem like rather a lot of numbers. Before the Forum was founded, every person of age in Charlian was given equal say in its governance. Many of the institutions that are still active today are established by the people's vote, not least Studium. As Elisai and I were constantly reminded during our time there, it is an example of what can be achieved through absolute democracy. After all this time away, it would be good to see my father, even if it is at an official meeting. My friends, I thank you all for coming so swiftly. Word of Master Fortunat's visit took us quite by surprise. When the Alliance granted Miss Kryl permission to request Charlian's aid, we did not anticipate so prompt a reply, much less that it would be delivered by a member of the Forum. What the nature of that reply may be, we shall soon discover. Oh my god. I have a feeling it's not going to be what we think it is.
Elder Seedseer, I thank you for granting me this audience. I am Fortuno Leveilleur, here in my capacity as representative of the Forum.
It is I who should thank you, Master Fortuno, for journeying so far and so swiftly. Would that our first meeting could have been under happier circumstances.
It has been too long, Father. You look well.
As do you both. Ameliance will be glad to hear that you are taking care of yourselves.
How is Mother?
She misses you terribly, of course, but is otherwise a picture of health. Circumstances apart, I'm grateful that our meeting has afforded me the chance to be reunited with my children at long last. And I believe I also owe you thanks for the hospitality you showed my father, Louisoix, during his sojourn in Eorzea.
All thanks we owe to him. In the days prior to the 7th Umbral Calamity, it was your father's tireless efforts which granted us a means to vanquish the Primals. Were it not for him, our strength would have been quite spent by the time the Empire arrived. That Gridania still stands is in large part his achievement. He was a great man.
He would doubtless have been moved to hear you say so. I must confess, however, that I opposed his decision to intervene. And my position remains unchanged.
To chart the course of history, not to change it. I am familiar with the Sharlayan stance.
It is more than that. It is our way of life, who we are. But I came here not to deliver a lecture, but the Forum's answer to your request. Sharlayan will under no circumstances intervene in the conflict between Eorzea and the Garlean Empire.
May I ask for what reason the Forum has come to this decision? The final days spell the end not only for Eorzea, but the entire world.
The final days? Pray spare me your hyperbole. This conflict is no more than the latest in a series of petty squabbles between yourselves and Garlemald, one in which Sharlayan will take no part. If the final days were truly upon us, we would know.
Father, you must ask the Forum to reconsider. You may feel safe on your little island across the waves. But if you imagine the Telophoroi will leave you be, you are mistaken. They mean to kill us all, themselves included.
Alphino is right. We have seen what the enemy is capable of, the lengths to which they'll go. This is no time to turn a blind eye. If Eorzea falls, so too will Sharlayan. So if you truly love our homeland, you will join us. Now, before it's too late.
I thought you knew better than to raise your voice to your elders. It seems I was wrong. Wrong to ever let you leave, Sharlayan. I consoled myself that your time abroad would instill in you some hint of restraint, of discipline. But I see now that Eorzea has made fools of you both. Have you forgotten why it was that I so vehemently opposed your grandfather's departure? For all his wisdom, his only solution was to go to war. Death, devastation, ruin. Even those who claim victory are scarred for life. What prize could ever justify such sacrifice? It is the duty of the learned to avert such tragedy. By fanning the flames of war, you forsake all you once held dear.
I'm gonna go with this one. To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence.
I see your friend shares your misguided ideals. But unlike him, you should know better. By espousing such barbaric notions, you subvert the teachings of Sharlayan and place all we have worked for in jeopardy.
How?
Alphino, Alizé, as of this moment, you shall no longer bear the name of Leveilleur.
What?
Father!
How you choose to live your lives is no longer my concern. If you wish to walk the path of ruin, I will not stand in your way.
Master Fourcheneau, while Sharlayan may have no intention of intervening in this conflict, we can still part as friends. Will you not stay and speak with us, that we might learn of Sharlayan's hopes for the morrow?
I have said what I came here to say. Any further discussion would be meaningless.
Father! Wait!
Don't bother, Alizé!
How can you stand there and watch him walk away? How can you let this happen?
It was not so very long ago that we had a friend and neighbor in Sharlayan, and so I clung to the hope that she might yet lend us her strength. But when she forsook Giovanna, it would seem she forsook us all. In order to avoid conflict with Garlemald, the Form went so far as to order the abandonment of an entire city-state. Their refusal to aid us now is, I'm sorry to say, entirely consistent with their historic position. It is we who walk the path of ruin. Is it we who walk the path of ruin? Time will tell. So their father just disowned them. That's crazy. So that's what he came here to say. That we're all fools for having the temerity to defend ourselves against the Telepharoi. And as for the rest, like it or not, this is the Form's decision, to watch from afar while Eorzea burns. Father was but the messenger, and as he handed down the judgment, I could think of nothing to say that could possibly sway him. I still can't. But prolonged the discussion would have changed a little, for it is not only Master Fourcheneau who must be persuaded, nor is it like to be changed, and so we shall face the Telepharoi without their aid. Forgive me, but if they had no intention of helping us, then why would they go through the trouble of sending an envoy in the first place? Why did they not simply keep their counsel, as they are wont to do so? Auric, has Master Fourcheneau arrived yet? Then it is as I feared. My efforts were in vain. I pleaded our case to as many Forum members as I could, but they flatly refused to discuss the matter. No, that's not exactly true. I should rather say they ignored every word I said on the subject, without exception. It was almost unnerving. Could it be that they are hiding something from us? That might go some way to explain Master Fourcheneau's performance. When he said they would know if the final days were truly upon us, I dismissed it as pride. But what if they genuinely believe that they know how the world will end, and simply disagree with us about the circumstances? That, I don't know, but something tells me they are not as unconcerned about the Telepharoi as they claim. If the threat weren't real, why else would they be so standoffish and secretive? I would very much like to delve deeper into this, but I'm afraid I've exhausted every avenue of inquiry. Nor have I fared any better with my other mission, researching Hydaelyn and the Ethereal Sea. I tried enlisting in the help of experts in the field, but it appears the Forum has forbidden anyone from cooperating with us. Obstructed at every turn. So it would seem, but don't lose heart just yet. With all the knowledge and acquaintances we have between us, we still can't find a way forward. To that end, I would like you all to join me here. When the time is right, of course. I am aware that matters in Eorzea stand on a knife edge. But with your permission, I can at least start making the necessary arrangements. I've always wanted to visit Sharlayan. Not really. Well, there are one or two things to take care of here first. After which assisting me will seem a sweet relief, I'm sure. While you attend to matters heroical, I shall see about securing entry for you all. I will let you know when everything is in order. Take care in the meantime, won't you? These speculations give me cause to hope. Yet if these seeds will bear fruit, I cannot say. While it is possible the Sharlayans hide some secret truth from us, there can be no certainty that its exposure will prompt them a change of heart. And so, for the present, we must needs confront the plight in which we find ourselves. The Forum has refused our request for aid, and it falls to us alone to contend with the Telepharoi. Even with all of Eorzea standing united, there is no guarantee we will prevail. What does Sharlayan intend to do if we fail? I have so many thoughts running through my head about this. One of them being that maybe Sharlayan is secretly being guided by an Ascian, or maybe they hold some secret about the Ascians that we didn't know before. I don't know. The final days. With their knowledge, Sharlayan could have done so much for the cause. They could have helped us uncover the secrets of the towers and save the tempered captives within, and yet gods. Throughout my childhood, I remember grandfather arguing with my father over Sharlayan's policy of non-intervention, and this time it was my turn to play the role. But if even my grandfather could not win him over, what chance had I? If words exist that may sway him, I know not what they are. The Forum includes representatives from all of Sharlayan's central institutions. With them hindering Krell's investigation, she will struggle to make any headway on her own. Connie Senna seems determined to not let the disappointment of Sharlayan's rejection distract her from the task at hand. We get a new emote from this. While Sharlayan's stance is indeed disappointing, we cannot allow ourselves to be distracted from the challenge before us. There is much and more to be done. I shall begin by sharing the Forum's response with my counterparts in the Alliance. Meanwhile, I would ask that the Scions... Grave tidings, Walking Ones. Grave tidings. Ah, shoot. What happened now? Calm yourself, my gentle friend. What has occurred? These ones who went to see Feathered Ones said terrible news. Destroying ones have appeared in Telepharoi, in Zelphatol. Destroying ones and captured ones, and even frightful godly ones. Feathered ones didn't stand a chance, and we were sent flapping and squawking. When did this happen? Is it too late to help them? Too late, yes. Much too late. But luckily, destroying ones were only passing through and continued on west. Feathered ones who did not fight were left unharmed. Well, that would be Korthus. My lady, the Ishgardians report that the Telepharoi have emerged from the eastern highlands of Kurthus and are marching at speed. Though their purpose is yet to be determined, the Cartanu Flats would seem their most likely destination. Lord Emmerich has already dispatched his forces and requests our immediate support. Tell him he shall have it. The time has come for the Grand Company of Eorzea to prove its worth. Well, mayhap it is a mercy that we do not have time to stew upon our misfortunes. Come, my friends, let us make haste to Cartanu. Wait, this one almost forgot. Destroying ones are said to be led by a cackling robed one. This one must see that all walking ones know. Farewell. Fandaniel? Who else? It was only a matter of time before that grinning maniac showed himself again. I shall have an airship ready to bear you to Cartanu. Pray see to your preparations and report to the landing with all haste. At once, my lady. Let us away. Death unto Dawn. Alright, I have a feeling this is the last quest. Because after this, I think it's just straight to Endwalker. And I'm actually going to mute myself with these last couple of cutscenes here. But so far, I've thoroughly enjoyed following along with this story. I mean, there hasn't been that much action with this quest, but that's